Oh my god, I just finished watching Making a Murderer, and after pulling out my hair, I decided to make a video about it. Let's talk spoilers ahead, Avi. So I wanted to make a video just kind of talking about what exactly happened in Making a Murderer. I didn't want to specifically look at the Avery case because it's in Making a Murderer, but I wanted to talk more broadly about what Making a Murderer is showing us in plain sight. I take this as a Netflix guide to how to handle your government. I think if you're watching this from a perspective, oh, I feel bad for a family, you're in for a roller coaster of emotion and you're going to cry a lot. So if you're watching it like a TV show, good for you. However, I looked at it as Netflix giving us a hint as to what will happen if we don't wake up and start seeking justice from our justice system. Because honestly, right now, it's being paraded in front of us that they're out to protect each other at any cost and unwilling to admit defeat via payouts and guilty pleas. So I really do feel like this is that network's way of saying, hey, America, wake up. Because right now you may think it's Steven Avery, or right now you may just think it's the poor, or right now you may just think it's minorities, but pretty soon they are going to come after everyone. And honestly, you could see the corruption from the top down in every scene. First, you see local authorities try to coerce guilty pleas out of the younger defendant, Brendan, but then also you see in plain sight evidence being planted in the crime scene. The fact that the container, which showed that a kit had been broken into that contained a vial of blood from Mr. Avery that had been used in a case prior to exonerate him. He was literally found innocent after spending 18 years in prison for a rape he never committed. The local authorities still to this day will not believe that he is innocent, even though the man who did the crime confessed, stating that Avery was serving time in their jail cell for a crime he did not commit. The police in Manitowoc County, Wisconsin, should be appalled, fired, and laughed out of town. Then you have Len Kaczynski. This is the representative who was appointed to Brendan's case. Now, mind you, Brendan is 16 years old. Len then not only proceeded himself to try to get a guilty plea out of Brendan, he also had an interrogator sit alone in a room without Brendan after hearing that his mom was appalled the police had done that to him previously 3 times. She wanted to be present. His appointed attorney knew that and still put him in this meeting with an investigator, in which you then saw the investigator tell Brendan what to draw. Tell Brendan to draw a picture with a woman shackled up. This is appalling. The fact that this is happening in Middle America should disgust you. But what's even worse, the fact that the FBI, who verified via the defendant's counsel that it would be impossible to run a test to see if there was any of the chemical left in the test tube of blood that keeps it preserved and liquefied, found in the car where Mr. Avery's blood was found in spots. Which is weird because he did have a cut on his finger, however it wasn't an open wound, and they already determined that the spotted blood was in the most random spots, and it didn't make sense that one cut finger would have left blood droplets in these specific areas. But then, lo and behold, right before the plaintiffs had to give their closing arguments, what do you know? The FBI were able to test and see if those blood spots in the RAV4 contained any of the chemical that would preserve blood, and they said that the 3 spots that were tested did not contain the chemical. However, they did not test the other 3 spots where blood was found. And not only that, they did bring forth the biolab analyst, and she even stated that the amounts being tested, she cannot state for certain whether there is no chemical in the blood spots found or it's too small to be detected. That is key in what we're being given as evidentiary support. None of this can be used to convict Mr. Avery. This is all pointing to signs that the police set this up themselves. Now, the defendant's counsel do say that they strongly feel there is a murderer on the loose, and the police just felt Steven Avery was guilty, so they planted more evidence to ensure a conviction. However, who's to say the police didn't do it? If you watch this show, which I don't even advise because honestly it's just going to make your blood boil, and after episode 4 you're going to want to kill your fucking TV. But if you watch, he goes by Lieutenant Link. He did this. He did this, it's plain as day. And honestly, I don't know how the viewership who's watching this show aren't all going after Len Kaczynski with fucking torches, because he should be disbarred immediately. I've already done my share at tweeting at some of these assholes just so they know that America hates them. Now, putting all of the information we were given in the story aside, do we know if Steven Avery is guilty or not? No. Do most of us who watch Making a Murderer feel Steven Avery is guilty? No. There's no way. At the beginning of the show, you see this is a man with simple means. All he wants out of life is love and family. That's it. He literally could live without a dime to his name. He lives in his trailer. Leave him alone. That's all he wanted. Didn't want anything. At the very beginning of the series, he talks about he's a man who, if he does something, he admits to it. They talk about how he admitted to all of these small crimes that did get him jail time. He did not commit the rape. He was exonerated from that. He sat in jail for 18 years, refusing to take a guilty plea, because he said an innocent man does not plead guilty. Now, that would have reduced his sentence way back then, and he still served 18 years. You're telling me that a man who was offered taking a guilty plea to get his sentence lowered so he knows he wouldn't be spending life in prison isn't going to do that? You're telling me he's not going to try to corroborate with the police if he's really guilty and try to get a lower sentence, or maybe a chance for parole 30, 40, 50 years down the line? I mean, this guy lost his life. Steven Avery sacrificed his life. How I feel from watching it was that maybe what he was put on this earth to do was be a strong-willed person to help show the rest of America that we're being treated worse than dogs. And maybe that is why he's here. He has more courage than anyone I've ever met in my life. After being released in 2003, the man not only didn't leave the county that he was being prosecuted unlawfully from, he then went to sue, in which you might find motive for the police department to then plant evidence showing that he is, in fact, a murderer. They needed this guilty conviction. They can't look like a police county that doesn't know how to do their jobs. The people would be outraged, so they needed a fall boy, a patsy. So they got one, and that's what we all got to witness on that show. Now, honestly, my heart goes out to the Avery family. The Manitowoc police just broke up that entire family, sending the nephew, Brendan Dosey, off to prison for the rest of his life. That's unheard of when they have no evidentiary support to convict him. That's absolutely disgusting to me. There was absolutely no DNA evidence of Brendan being at the site in any way, shape, or form. They are going off of his stories, which changed a good 20, 30 times. And people, adults with comprehension skills, are not putting this together. People are wrongfully imprisoning innocent people in Wisconsin and around the country. So we need to wake up, because this is our time to speak up. This is our time to show government officials you can't push around the middle class just because we don't have the money to fight in court. We need to show the government we control law. We help create law. We deem what we are comfortable with. There is no way a man should be sitting in prison for life for a murder they cannot prove he committed. Point blank. That is what a justice system is for. There has been no justice in this case. A man is innocent until proven guilty. And yet, we allow the media to make it so that American citizens are guilty until proven innocent. Think about that, because it's a disgrace. This country is falling apart. You are not constitutional by sitting idly by. Remember that. Do your fucking job. Wake up. Have some conversations. Take care of yourself. I am going to make a better video for Friday, I promise. I just had to get this rant out, but honestly, these are words that need to be heard. They need to be heard by the adults who are running this country and by the youth that soon will be. So wake up. And honestly, I just want to give a shout out to the entire Avery family. Please just know that not all America is against you. There are people out here who believe Steven Avery is innocent. There are people out here who know Brendan was coerced into giving that plea. And honestly, sending love and peace. Your family is torn apart, and I hope you guys can just find peace. I wore a wife beater to rep Wisconsin pride. Hashtag redneck trailer trash unite. You know, nothing to be ashamed of for being poor. Do you? Anyway, if this is a show you are interested in watching, do check it out. I cannot watch any more episodes. I made it to episode 9, and I don't even want to see the ending, honestly. I googled it, read about it. I know what happened. If you want to watch it, go for it. Sorry I put spoilers in here, but my blood is fuming. I needed to get it out. I didn't spoil everything. There's plenty to still enjoy. And honestly, look into cases like this. They exist all over the country. Steven's not the only one. It sucks. So now you're informed. Do something with it. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. And don't watch this show. I promise you, your blood will boil and you'll want to scream. Just skip it.